don't want to blame him because we're having to our problems, but he's organized a great day for us, and we're just here to help him. So thanks, John, for organizing this. Hopefully today will be something we can all learn from and make friends and connect with people and update our houses accordingly. So my name is Sarah. I'm the Vice President of Historic Wallingford. We're glad you're here today. I do want to make a few plugs for some events coming up. I've just updated on our website. Some registrations are now open for our October 19th, which is a Saturday. We're having a couple of workshops about researching your historic home. So if you research something that's interesting to you, we have somebody coming in to, it's a hands-on workshop where you can learn what's on the web to research your home. So there's a couple of handouts and takeaways. The best way to do that workshop is to bring your own tablet or computer. We'll have Wi-Fi available. It'll be very informal, just kind of a gathering of folks. We're limiting it to about 15 people per session so that we can kind of have a good dialogue and work together to do some research. So that's open on our website. To register, it's free to Historic Wallingford members. It's $10 if you're not a member. Be sure to register. It's October 19th on Saturday. Session 1 is at 12:30 and session 2 is at 1:30. And then on October 25th, we have, I believe that's a Friday evening, we have our Historic District Feasibility Study public meeting where we're unveiling kind of what our consultants that we hired several months ago to explore the possibility of a historic district in Wallingford. They're giving us their recommendations on possible historic districts in Wallingford. I'm really excited about this meeting. The planning is still in the works. There's no registration required. It will be open to the public. It's October 25th, 7 p.m. I think is there a location set for that yet?
Senior Center downstairs.
Senior Center downstairs.
Okay. You can come at 6:30 to look at that.
Okay.
Will all these meetings be posted or online somehow?
Yes, that will be on our website. That particular meeting is not yet on our website, but it will be very shortly. Yeah, once we get the details. So October 25th, 7 p.m. here down at the Senior Center. And if you want to know more about the historic district feasibility study, we do have a page on our website that kind of explains that in more detail. And then lastly, on November 8th, we're excited about having Catherine Rogers-Merlino. She's a UW architecture professor. She's an author of a recent book called Building Reuse, Sustainability, Preservation, and the Value of Design. And we're having sort of a book talk with her. It's 7 p.m. at the Seattle First Nazarene Church. That's right behind Dick's. So grab some dinner, come over. 7 p.m. It's a Friday night, November 8th. And we hope to have her books on sale. We have on our website, there's where you can register to reserve your spot. Again, Historic Wallingford members are free. There's $10 for non-members. We hope to have her book for sale. Hopefully she'll stick around and sign it and talk to folks. So join us for that. Again, that's November 8th. So that is something you need to register for. That is up on our website. You can go do that.
What's that church called again?
Seattle First Nazarene Church.
Okay.
Right behind Dick. Great. Any questions? All right, I'm going to turn it over to John. He's going to introduce today's program.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you all for coming so much and for supporting Historic Wallingford and the neighborhood. I know a lot of you are very interested in either remodeling or restoring your home. I think we have some exciting people, and we try to pick a variety of individuals, a couple do-it-yourselfers, or one do-it-yourselfer really, another one who's a homeowner that works closely with a builder. We have a builder, we have design build, and then we have a strict architect design firm as well. All well represented, not just in Seattle, but also in this neighborhood in different levels. The first part of the program, as if you remember the description, is going to be each of them introducing themselves and showing a few slides of their work, talking about that very briefly. So we've asked them to stick to about 10 minutes for each of their sections. And so hold your questions, if you would. For the panel, we're going to give a small break right there for restrooms and snacks. After that will be the panel. And we're not going to have a lot of time for the panel. You really want to try to pack it in. So I've asked them all to be brief and on point with their questions. I ask you to do the same. thing, with their answers, so you do the same with your questions. Stay very focused on, remodeling, rebuilding, and just maybe one question per person. So don't try to dominate. After that, you guys are free to take a break for an hour, hour and a half. Go grab some lunch for the dicks, of course. And you really want to get food. And then you have addresses. Everybody should have an indication and an address of where they should go for the home tours. Does everyone have that? Does anyone not have that? That's a very good question. All right.
I came late, but
Okay, all right.
they got it.
Okay, you'll get yours too. So if you don't have that, make sure you get it. You're all part of a group, A, B, C, or D. Be there promptly if you can. It's going to be a tour with somebody curating it, so it's not like an open house. You'll be with a person. They'll talk about what they did, go in and ask them, hey, what did you do differently? What do you wish that you did? What do you love that you're very unexpected about? So keep that in mind, and please try to stay very prompt with being on time at your different homes. All right, with that, we're going to kick it off, Greg. I think your first, what I'd ask each of the speakers to do, if you could get kind of close into the screen, like in front of the Celebrate Historic Home with your placard. That way, Carl can take pictures of you up front. Absolutely. Yes, please do. Feel comfortable.
You want this like to be a little
Just a little close. That's fine, yeah.
You can only get so close before you're being light, so.
Great.
Okay, so this is not the after picture. So my wife and I bought our house in 2015. We were newlyweds. I was new to Seattle. I just moved here. We fell in love with Wallingford, so we knew we wanted to be in the neighborhood. We actually had a 5-block by 7-block area where we knew we wanted to be. And we started walking through all these houses and realizing that a lot of them were being purchased, flipped quickly, and then resold. And you're going to be doing a lot of work anyway, so you were paying a premium for the house and then paying for all the work you're going to have to do. So we started looking at houses that really needed help. This little guy was destined to be a teardown. And we were not the highest bidders. I think we were the 7th highest bidder on this house, but they felt bad for us. We wrote a little letter that said we were newlyweds and all those things. And in that letter we said we're going to turn it into the craftsman house that it should be. So this is a little old, but this is what it looks like now. So we spent the last few years starting with, first we bought it in like June. We didn't move into it until October. So we spent the first 6 months gutting the inside, redoing it, trying to put this back together. So you can see all the windows are they're all glass, like trailer park windows, I guess. So like aluminum frame, really thin single panel. House is stubby, has this old front porch on it. So we went through and changed all the windows, moved all the windows around, moved the front door over. Inside the house, which will come up soon, we remodeled the entire, this is what it looked like before. We moved every single wall inside the house around. They were non-load-bearing walls. Originally this was a one-room cabin with a front porch and a back porch. And when they had added electricity to the house, they had enclosed the back porch and added the electricity and the plumbing in the back. So nothing inside of it was structural. It was very open. That allowed us to move all these things around, move the archway, open up so we had a bigger dining room. Since this house, the whole house is only 730 some square feet on the upper floor, so we really wanted to optimize our dining space and our bathroom because of the two most functional areas. This is my current project, so we got done with the upper floor. We just finished actually landscaping the backyard, and now I'm working on, so this is the after picture of the backyard. We removed the garage that was there before, stripped out the whole backyard. We built out an addition over, it used to be a staircase, which gave us a little bit more space to add a second bedroom. And then now I'm moving on to the basement where we're looking at adding another bathroom and a laundry room. And that I'm targeting to be done next month for the in-law visit, or visit from the in-laws. And then after that's done, we start with the rest of the basement where we're going to put in an entertainment room and a shop and some things like that. So this is something we just finished. So that first picture, there was no porch. This is in progress. And I don't know if I sent you a fully complete one, but this sort of shows the progress from beginning to end. So this is after the old frame here, all the drywall, the lath and plaster, everything was stripped out. And the ceiling in the corner, top left, is popcorn ceiling that's asbestos, but it had gold and silver glitter in it, which we found amazing. And then, so that all happened. We paid for this staircase to be put in, knowing we were going to cover over the other staircase to the basement. That's one of the things that we do regret, because we kind of put it right in the middle of the house without a real plan, and sort of set what we could do as far as floor plan. It worked out okay, but it was one of those things where we should have had a little bit more thought. Actually, we were working with an architect at the time who gave us some rough drawings, and that's where he said put the staircase. We ended up not working with that architect much longer, doing most of the design ourselves, so everything was sort of in my head, and then framing it out, finished work. So that's the way it looks now.
It's great. I had a chance to go see Greg's home and not pictured, I don't think it pictures of the bedroom, right, and the bathroom, but for those of you that are going to see it, just a lot of attention to detail from a homeowner, just to kind of give you a vision of what you can do on your own, especially if you're talented like Greg is.
It's really nice to live 3 blocks away from them.
Yeah.
They literally all know you by name, so.
Question back here.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work. Where are you living while that's happening?
So, like I said, the first, John, could you go back to like that living room picture? So, okay, when we were doing this part, we were actually living in an apartment on the so this was between June and October of 2015. So we moved in what it looked like this. At that point, the kitchen, the original kitchen was still there, which was a little galley kitchen across the back of the house. There was no bathroom. So we moved in, and then we got in that while we were living in the house, in the basement as well. When we went to do the addition on the house, we paid somebody to do the structural component of that, and we lived in an apartment on Wallingford for a bit. So there was like 2 6-month stints when the big stuff happened. We went there. Otherwise, we were just living in this. So she's very patient. That's my wife. She's also very helpful. She did a lot of us.
Thank you, Greg. I appreciate it.
Good morning, I'm Gary Tupi. My company is Brightwork Builders. Brightwork, I know, is a nautical term for the brass work on boats, but it's also used in carpentry to describe trim and casework that's not painted. It's clear coated or stained. So your joints have to be really tight. You can't hide gaps with caulk and putty. And we kind of specialize or pride ourselves on our attention to detail and tight carpentry. So we figured Brightwork was a good name for the company. This is the first project we did. This is in Finney Ridge. People bought this beautiful Craftsman on the right, but it looked like the one on the left. Someone had come through in the 60s and put this big brick front staircase on it, and the owners had a picture from the city assessment done back in the 40s. You probably know, you can get the old black and white of your house. It looked like. They showed me this picture and they said, "Can you make it look like this?" And I was new and didn't know what I was doing, but had a lot of great intentions. And so this is the first project for us, and we rebuilt it to look pretty much what it looked like in the picture. This happened to be a great project for us because excellent exposure to the neighborhood. You can flip to the next one. We ended up doing 3 siding jobs right in the neighborhood. This one on the right was the Cape Cod. The only thing remaining, it was vinyl siding. They had the beautiful sunburst on the portico, but the brickwork was turning to rubble, so we had a mason do a new brick wall for us, built a new porch, resided the whole house. Then we moved to the orange one on the left, and while we were there, the homeowner said, you know, our basement smells a little damp and musty. They had a finished basement. They couldn't figure out where it was coming from. We kind of tracked it to the front of the house, and you can see that concrete porch. It's enclosed on all three sides. It's kind of a tomb, so I couldn't look under it from the outside. So I cut a hole in the sheetrock underneath the house, or in the basement, and looked in there, and the contractor had left his form boards in there as he poured this thing around it, no venting, and it was perfect condition for growing mushrooms. There were mushrooms spider web, and the funniest thing, I opened this up on Halloween day. Halloween experiences ever. This is in the historic Hilltop neighborhood in Bellevue. This is a Wendell Lovett home, designed back in 1957, and the house had been, you know, really well maintained, but the kitchen cabinets were just kind of worn. They were plywood construction and no slides, and so they just needed a new kitchen. So they wanted to stay with the original theme of the house. You can see the beams up there were designed and built by his architecture students. They look kind of like trusses in airplane wings. But we did the new kitchens, the same white through laminate panels and plywood construction, just to keep it, you know, modernize it, but keep it in the original spirit of the home. This is a Madrona kitchen that we did, another craftsman bungalow that was really well maintained and original looking. A lot of the trim had been painted, but it was original. This used to have a little mudroom on the left side where the door is, and then just a kind of dark seating area on the right. I mean, there are other pictures of this on the website that show the kitchen, but they wanted to keep, you know, as traditional as possible. You can see the shaker doors with the cabinetry there, but they just wanted to open it up, so we put a big vault to the ceilings and put a big door and sliding open windows so you can see the outside. This is John Bredson's home, which has been on the tour before. We did this in 2008. This basement was a speakeasy back during the Prohibition, and they still had you can see that the panel door back there was a little, not quite as obvious. It was the secret hooch compartment. They still had the original bar sink and bar tap from when it was a speakeasy. But we turned it into a mother-in-law with a bathroom and a little kitchenette and a bedroom. This next one, actually this was the second phase of that Halloween story house. So they had someone build this beautiful craftsman mantle on the right, and they just wanted us to bring the rest of the house back up to that tune. So we gutted the interior, gave them a new kitchen, and just replaced all the windows and put in this oak trim around all the windows and new baseboard. This is a Capitol Hill home. I just really like this picture. This is, you know, this flue was never intended to be a design feature. You know, they were covered by lath and plaster, but we opened it up as we were opening up the whole house, and the clients really liked it, and so we turned it into a bit of an architectural element. But you can see this is where they would train new masons because they knew they were going to hide it. So the joints are all the big gaps in them, and not the prettiest bricks, but it adds a little character to the house. This was our first new construction project in Mount Baker neighborhood. It's modern house, 3 stories, all concrete floors throughout, and radiant floor heating. But they wanted a green roof section between the attached dwelling unit, our mother-in-law, and the main house. It's only about 8 foot by 14 foot, and back in 2010 there wasn't a green roof installer, so they found this company down in Portland that grows the little sedum pods and little trays, but for them to drive up to install it for just an 8 by 14 space was really expensive. So we ended up being certified as green roof installers, and we've done a few over the years. And that's it.
How many professionals do you have here, and how long have you guys been in business?
We've been in business since 2004, and we have, our company is 6. We have four carpenters, and then my business partner and I. We usually have a couple jobs running at a time.
Are you considered a design build?
We don't have any designers on staff, but we are kind of in the design build arena because we often will bring up suggestions when we find possibilities for doing something that wasn't in the drawings. We'll bring it up and say talk to our architect. So we don't do any design work, but we do as the project goes on.
Great, thank you. Appreciate it, Derek.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jeff Pelletier. I'm the founder and owner of Board and Vellum. My name is not Mr. Board or Mr. Vellum, either people often ask. I was reminded of the name. So Board and Vellum, when I founded the company, they said, you don't want my name on the door. So I wanted the company to grow a little bit. And Board is the old drafting board, and Vellum is the kind of paper that architects would use. And so I really wanted the firm to be about kind of the art of architecture and design. So a little backstory on me. I'm from the East Coast, about 10 years since 2001. My first home in Seattle was a 1926 Craftsman in Ravenna, which I worked on for a couple years. Then I moved up to Capitol Hill in a 1902 kind of Seattle box home, we fully have remodeled as well. So I've been both in the shoes of somebody who's remodeled their own home and designed it, so I know that process really well. Board and Vellum's been around since 2011 when I quit my job in a recession to start a company. Everyone's like, that's really stupid, and it probably was, but I managed to make it work. We're a team of 35 people right now. We have architects, interior designers, and landscape architects, and most of our projects have integrated comprehensive services across the board, with like some landscape architect or architecture. About half our work, and always will be half our work, are remodels of older homes in Seattle. That's really my passion. I do work on a variety of projects, but remodeling older homes it's exciting, it's fun, it's why we're here. Now, what I want to talk about today, you can go back to the first one, I guess, but I'm going to take you through just a random slideshow. But I want to talk about a toolkit for being a good neighbor. A quick show of hands. Who here has seen a house that you've seen an old bungalow and it's been torn down? Someone goes out and it's like a 3-story party box, and you're like, anyone seen those? That's what I call not a good neighbor. Now, I work on contemporary homes, I work on Tudors, I have a crazy home right now with an actual hobbit hole going in. Interesting is fun. And there's a spot for contemporary architecture, and there's a spot for that to work, but it's about being contextual and being a good neighbor. And I think that's really key. And there's ways you can do that, so I want to walk through all the projects and talk about examples of how you can be a good neighbor when you're approaching your project, and what that really can mean. This is a second-story addition. Should have had some before and after there, sorry for that. But basically this was the window bay right there was original. The front porch was not really there, it was just a junky roof. And so we wanted it to look like it had always been there. And so the homeowners were really involved in the construction. We came up with basically a design for them, and we added a full second story here, and you can't tell that it's an addition. It looks like the home was always built down there. This is actually just kind of north of the Volvo dealer over by New Village. And it's a great one. I love this project. I think it really sits well in the neighborhood. And some of the owners of this project, some of the neighbors, have come up to them and actually like giving them hugs and saying, thank you. Like, this is a great addition to the neighborhood. We were so worried. The house was clearly a tear down. But doing it right and detailing it is really key. You'll see with these modern boxes that go up, and mind you, some of them can be okay. I don't want to trash them fully. But one of the reasons why people don't like them, I think, is the quality. They're put up really, really quickly, and everyone knows these things are not going to last. That they're going to be covered in mold and falling down, and they're going to be crappy. The thing that I love about older homes, I think a lot of people do too, are the details. There's something cozy about it, whether it's you're inside or outside. And a day like today, this is like kind of my favorite style of weather actually. It's overcast. I don't feel obliged to go to barbecue, actually. I can stay inside to do something. And that feeling of coziness is what I try to convey in all of our projects. And details like this, capturing, pulling the kind of the waistband up of the house, as I call it, allowing for panels over the top, and then these kind of brackets along the way, really make a home feel unique and special. And that's what I think works so well. This is also a one-story bungalow, kind of blasted up in West Seattle, and a lot of the homes over there are just blah. You've seen the big, tall siding from the 50s, vinyl windows, they don't really look that good. And so we wanted to give it character and make sure it was a good neighbor. A few things that worked really well in this project: adding in new garage doors, spending the money on some fir carriage doors that actually felt like they had presence. Upstairs, and giving it a front porch. And you see the front porch is recessed, it doesn't extend out. The city of Seattle has complicated zoning rules about what you can and cannot do. I think the city of Seattle is actually trying to keep architects in business by making the rules so complicated. We had a homeowner recently came to us and said, I tried to submit for a permit and the correction was hire an architect. Because it's just challenging. And for this one, we couldn't add on. But we can use tools like we're allowed to set the roof into the setback, and so we gave the home the presence of a front porch, while actually giving it one. On the second story, I love second story additions. But unlike the previous scheme, which does go the full footprint of the house upstairs, we didn't want this house to feel that big. And so it is a full footprint, it's 728 square feet on the upstairs, but there's 3 bedrooms and 2 baths up there. And doing it doesn't look like that, but creating a really carefully designed dormer that feels scale, really works. This is a craftsman home in North Capitol Hill. Homeowners really were serious about detailing and being historically accurate. So one of the things that we do, we have a couple of people in my office who are strict historical experts. They know how this stuff was put together and how it should have been. Now, I'm not personally a fan of always following the rules strictly. I don't think we have to. I think that a lot of these homes were not built by architects, they're built by craftsmen who were kind of winging it. They were doing some beautiful work and getting inside and feeling inspired. And so I think sometimes you can, if it's the right situation in this toolkit, you can be accurate. This fireplace, they wanted to be accurate. We sourced tile patterns and wood detailing, and really this is actually a salvage surround, and make sure it all works. And then getting you light fixtures that are appropriate, things like that. That works. But sometimes you don't need to. Go to the next one. Wow. Sometimes you have to. So I grabbed one of these around. This is a 10,000 square foot mansion on Capitol Hill. You may have seen it. It's at 16th and Aloha. It had a massive fire, 3-4 years ago. And it's currently lived in by a collective. Very much a North Capitol home. There's about 15 different people who rent rooms in it, and it's owned by a nonprofit land trust. A builder fixing the roof, torched the roof, and the whole thing got up in flames. And the water damage was extensive. And so this became a unique project where we had the liability insurance from the contractor who burns things around. We had the homeowner's insurance, and we had renter's insurance for everyone living in the property, and no distinct owner. And so we had to figure out how this all works. And little side story, if you did with insurance, one of the things that they do is they set the property. Well, the 3rd floor of this project had a ballroom that had been divided up. It had 7 layers of flooring, wood and tile and something else and vinyl. And the insurance company gives you the full replacement value for each layer of flooring. And so little tricks like that enabled us to spread the budget around. This is a entry foyer. All the wood was completely destroyed. And so we had to rebuild it carefully. Now, there was a gorgeous arcade floor in the main floor that frankly, you couldn't replace. There was no budget for it, it didn't make sense. And so that's in the toolkit of things, you have to sort of pick your moves. To build everything the way it was done originally isn't in a lot of people's budget, frankly. And so being careful about, recreating a border here to make a lot of sense. And then what we did is at the landing above, there's a picture of that, is we actually did recreate the parquet floor there with a piece that we could salvage. And so it's having a nod to history without being completely accurate all the time. Next one. This is a bungalow over on Queen Anne. Now, I'm talking. So this home, we add on to the back. We have a little more freedom to put in the back of the house. As part of my toolkit lesson here, I think about the back of your home. The front of your home, if all things are, if you can do everything, make the front of your home feel like the neighbor. Make it feel appropriate to the neighborhood. Go crazy in the back. It's your backyard. You can kind of do more things. So if someone really wants a contemporary project, sometimes clients are like, fine in every house. I'm like, well, then don't buy this one. But sometimes maybe you're in a neighborhood maybe the school's there, whatever it is. Doing something as an intervention in the back that's not like what's there, I think can be appropriate and can work really well. In this case though, we had a home that was a craftsman and wanted to really work really well. So we added on and creating a covered porch for the space. And again, recreating the brackets and making sure the detailing makes sense for the next one. One of the other toolkits I love is taking advantage of small spaces. I love small spaces, and I think you were mentioning, Greg, that your house is 700 square feet in the main floor. Small spaces can live big. They don't have to feel tiny. You don't need to keep chasing square footage to make the house bigger. And part of that is being creative. This is actually a little cottage on my property. This is my house. And so with this, I wanted a little guest space. And so here, you can see to the left, that chalkboard is behind it in front of a Murphy bed. That little square beneath it is a table that pops up, so it becomes a desk. So there's a queen bed behind there. Up the top of the lawn is another queen bed, sliding rail. Behind the door to the left is a rolling closet organizer and a washer dryer. The other door to the right is a full bathroom and a little mini kitchen out here, and we're about 180 square feet. The coffee table, you see the legs at the bottom, fold in so the table can drop down below the Murphy bed. So think about your whole solution holistically. Does furniture come into play? How does this space connect to your landscape? How does it feel bigger? You can see there's French doors right there that lead up to a yard, and there's a door right next to it in the picture that leads up to a little private courtyard. And so with careful integration of the landscape and details, you can make your space feel larger. This is an example of a modern addition to a craftsman home. From the street, you would never know it's really craftsman. The owners had to be in this neighborhood. Their family was next door. They were going to live here, but they wanted a modern kitchen. That's all they really wanted. And so what we did was allow them to actually have a more contemporary addition, but at the back of the home. And I think that's a really friendly way of addressing that. And you can see here, part of that, the big moves is connecting your home to the yard. Older homes, frankly, you guys live in the craftsman, have horrible connections to the backyard. All of them do. Usually through a bedroom or something. And so whenever you can, if you can do an addition, open it up to the back. It's really, really key. Next slide. And then this is also my house on the inside. You can see that's the three cottage right there through the windows. But detailing. Capture the cues that are in your house. In this case, I had this colonnade right there, and the details around the colonnade. I had a custom knife made to capture that same trim profile, and carried it around here to create built-ins. And one of the things that I think is important when you talk about your home is when you give a tour of that house, it should take a long time. There should be something special and unique in each room. It doesn't mean expensive. It could be a recess for grandma's hutch, but make it special, make it feel like that home is you. Don't do it for the future owner. Do it for you, and it really will show through. And that's how right. Again, board development, didn't bring any swag, but you have a card there.
Great, thank you so much.
Do you have time for a question?
You know, they're actually going to give you guys a little break, so in a little few minutes, and so definitely ask questions at that point. I think you are up. Yes. Yeah.
I'm the one who sort of envisioned for 12 years while I sat in the kitchen chair of what the place would look like. Even when I walked through and bought the house in the Wallingford neighborhood, I already had figured out, okay, that window's going, that's going to be French doors, this is going to be a deck, this is blah, blah, blah. So I have a very vivid imagination and appreciation for. Yeah.
Sure, she just wants an introduction of
Oh,
who you are.
Kathleen.
Homeowner, architect, designer?
She's a homeowner.
Sorry, yeah, I'm the one who works with the builder.
Oh, okay,
So
good.
sorry.
Thank you, that's okay.
I had nothing planned, so I'm just kind of yammering here, and I didn't really send a lot of pictures, but I think this is a prime example of what the kitchen looked like. Our house and John and Darren's house is exactly the same house. And so you can see, when we first moved in, there was a refrigerator, a double oven, which is, you can kind of see, obviously, what you did here. So eventually they both died. And as everything died, I did some research as to what kind of appliances I wanted. And Mila is the appliance that I wanted, so I waited for Wallingford to have a sale. And they finally went down to one gas burner that functioned. Earl and I eat out a lot, we're not very good cooks. So what we ended up doing was, I had somebody who did some work for us, and it was like, okay, just come in, rip that cabinet down, and we're gonna just set that thing there. And we lived like that for probably 5 years. And so it was basically a rat trap. And you can see nothing's very attractive whatsoever, but you can see I like to leave plants too. I like to garden. My outside of my house was more important than the interior when we first moved in.
Pat has an amazing English garden in the front of her
It's
place.
just
It is stellar.
It's kind of neat.
It's amazing.
I never sometimes buy plants and I get home and go, oh, pardon my language, what the hell am I going to do with this now? And that's what I do. So one of the first projects, the French doors were not there. It was a window. It had a heater in front of it, and again, because of what, I'm sorry, I don't remember your name. You're Jeff. When Jeff was saying how the exterior to get outside was always, in older homes, is just not very good. The first thing I wanted to do was basically take that window out, remove the heat, and we lived with, you can see a little heater in the kitchen, that's all we had. And the gentleman who did it, I found him, he's retired now, he was remodeling a house across the street, and he kept saying, "Are you sure you want to do this, Pat?" And he's like, "Not a problem. We can live like this. I've got a vision, we'll get there." So the French doors went in, and the deck went on, and the gentleman and I worked together. You'll see those of you who come with sort of a two-tier, because I don't like our property slopes down to the west. And so I didn't want to deck very high up, where you have a long set of stairs going down, so you've got a smaller deck, 2 steps down, a little bigger deck, and then down it goes. And so this is kind of the view from the dining room into the kitchen, and I sat in the chair over the corner in the bunk out. That was also part of that was done, I don't know how many years ago, maybe 8 years ago. We actually opened up the porch that was on the side of the house. So it needed to be repaired. We couldn't really walk on the porch, it was sort of rotten. The house was sort of a mess when we moved in. It was livable, but it needed tender, loving care. And she's got sweet old bones. She's just a nice old house. And so I envisioned taking that wall down, and so you're standing in the same exact spot looking in. I've been lucky enough over the years to have built one house and had a great builder that we worked with, and learned a lot of mistakes, because you're always going to have mistakes no matter what. I can tell you that. You're always going to go, geez, I wish I'd thought of that. Because I think sometimes you don't know how you're going to live in the house. You know, if you're in a small ratty kitchen, you don't know how you're going to spread out. So counter space that not to toot my own horn, but I think that we did a pretty good job. It came in 12 years of sitting in the kitchen chair staring at what I was doing. And I did kind of some things that, like you can see this one shelf, the one cabinet above the window, above the counter. I have glass all around it. And I know the builder that I worked with, who was very good and would question me on things to think about what I was doing, which was perfect. That's what I need. If you're going to do what I did, you need to talk to people who actually put in floors or who build cabinets, and talk to them and say, am I doing something wrong? You're the professional here. Give me some ideas. Am I going down the right track? And what I wanted was, I didn't want, this is my chair, that's sitting right here, right? And so what I wanted is, I didn't want a box here. I didn't want it enclosed. I wanted it open. It's not a very big kitchen. It's an odd-shaped kitchen. But that feeling of having openness, plus I think I'm a little bit claustrophobic, so I like lots of openness. And I think they first thought I was crazy, and I said, no, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I'll just live with it. And after it went up, both the cabinet maker and the builder said, that was a really smart idea.
What do you keep in that cabinet?
Sorry?
What do you keep in
I
that cabinet?
have all of my coffee fixings, whatever, so I have glasses in there, I have, you know, my dishes on the other side, so the other side of the window has also glass in it, whatever, so you
So
just,
you can still see through it?
you can still see through it. I don't know what else to say, we did a lot more in the house, we had some ratty bathrooms, I wasn't taking pictures as I went along. We managed to find some, so whoever comes, we can show you the ratty bathroom that we had. It was a very strange closet almost around the tub. You guys had it too, didn't you? And so one of the things that was important to me when we were looking at this house and finding the neighborhood was I wanted to be close to downtown. And unfortunately, I bought it in '06 when you know, things were just crazy. But I thought, I'll be damned if I'm going to move from the east side and then have to go live all the way north Seattle. I want to be close to downtown. So I just kept looking at houses, and I walked into this one, and even the realtor and my husband kept saying, are you sure you want this house? And I went, yes, I want this house, whatever. So anyway, I finally got my dream after 12 years. You know, we're happy with it, and I guess that's all that matters. When you come in, we actually have no tubs. We put in another bathroom downstairs, and we have some pictures of that, so people who come to the house can kind of explain what it looked like down there. But hoping to age in place, it's not like I am a spring chicken any longer. So I'm thinking to myself, hell, when I'm 90 years old, I don't have to be lifting my leg up over a tub so I can take a shower. Walk my showers in both bathrooms. In the hallway, we actually took down the wall, and there's an opening. It's almost like if you were to go upstairs, you go up, and you had a railing that went partially up the stairs. And then when you got upstairs, the railing was around the stairway, and you had a hallway, kind of. So I thought, well, why can't I do that in reverse? Because I didn't want to feel like downstairs, which has 2 bedrooms, and another bathroom, and basically sort of the exercise, TV room, when it gets really hot, go to the basement, and it's really cool in the summer. So an architect lives across the street, and we're friendly with them, and also I take care of her little dog. And I said, I'm thinking about wanting to take this wall down, and I want to put in just a nice railing. The stairs, we're not going to change the stairs. We'll put in a new set of stairs because there's a clearance problem, but because we weren't doing any of that, it was okay to do, and unfortunately I don't have any of those pictures. But I wanted it to not feel like we were going into a basement. That was what I wanted, and I don't think it does feel that way. So anyway, that's my story.
She has a beautiful garden, as I was saying. For those of you that are going to see it, definitely take them through the hallway because ours has like a solid wall. So, good. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll drive everybody downstairs.
Hi, I'm Kim Clements. I'm the co-founder and co-owner of JAS Design Build. We're at the corner of, well, this is our first space. So what I want to start out saying, is that working in a neighborhood that has heritage, one of the most important things you have to do, I think, and I think every Pat's story, Greg's story, Jeff's story, Gary's story, it all is based in commitment because you have to decide to be here and stay here. If you're coming in to flip houses, we see it, you can't do it. Financially, it doesn't make any sense. So sometimes you have to make certain choices. And what makes me really, really pleased relative to the project that I'm going to show you today and focus on today is something Pat said, which is aging in place. And I was talking to the other Pat. There's two Pats who are both going to be aging in place here. It's really, I think it's healthier. It's the fabric of community that we can find in a neighborhood like Wallingford is something that I don't think you find in the suburbs or on your river, or I mean I know this is important, but I just wanted to say that. So as a JAS started in 1992, or almost 30 years, just about. We at various points in our growth we started with 3 people, and we're now 98 people, and we have felt the growing pains at times and had to really ask ourselves, should we go to Georgetown? Should we go to South Park? Should we go to Tukwila? Should we move? Should we get more space? Should we? And at every turn, we discussed it and said, no. So if we took all of the places we've committed to in Wallingford, we probably would have one giant warehouse somewhere that might function very differently, but it would also mean a different life and a different philosophy about design build for us. So we originally, so all of these properties, that's our original cabinet shop, and every time we've been in a significant commercial or non-residential building, we've also created at least 1 unit of additional housing, which is rental housing, not Airbnb housing, nothing against Airbnb, but the pressures, we knew the pressures were coming 20 years ago. So our corner shop used to be cabinet shop, 2 units of housing up above, and we then soon outgrew that one. Joe and I didn't own a house. We didn't know how we would ever do that, and one thing led to another, and a block away from that building is that building, which is the only house we've ever owned. We also have an apartment in a daylight basement of this house. We then outgrew that space and moved to this space, which is across the street from that space and 1 block from this one as well. So then you guys may recognize this building. This is the old Socialist Hall over across from Ivers down on North Lake Union. And then as a way to actually be more efficient, effective, and not have to sub out a significant amount of cabinet work, we ended up moving to just our cabinet shop to a building over at Nickerson and Florencia across the Fremont Bridge. We call it the South Annex. It's as far away as we'd ever like to be. We just bought 2 electric bikes for our cabinet makers and carpenters to be able, because we spend a lot of time at our cabinet shop, the designers and architects especially. So we just invested in bikes so we don't have to have people driving back and forth all the time dealing with the parking headaches. We also, it's not a building, but it's a community element. We started a service business for maintaining and supporting the homeowners of the buildings and projects we've created in the world. We felt like, wow, there's some responsibility there to be had, and we know those buildings, and people are always, wanting to help anyway. And then, closer than a few years ago, we purchased 2 odd properties over at the corner, kitty corner from these 2 properties, a cottage in the back and a duplex in the front. And they weren't in the greatest of shape. The cottage still looks like this, but it'll get there one day, the commitment part. And we had some very dear friends who we've been trying to get them to move into the city for a long time. They are now in their mid-70s, twin sisters, both have families, but they're single now, and they spend all their time together anyway, so they took 2 full suburban houses filled with stuff, and we talked them into moving into 700 square feet. But the point of it was that, and I really appreciated what Jeff said about, we are historically appreciative. We're not always necessarily historically accurate. We don't find, and sometimes historic accuracy isn't about the visual detail. Sometimes it's about the social aspects of the neighborhood. So Wallingford used to be a very blue-collar, working-class neighborhood. You worked at the mill. Wallingford Avenue, you probably know from history research, was a skid road a long time ago. There was a cookie factory, there was a gas cracking plant. Normal working class people worked here. So the scale of the houses is not like you find on North Capitol Hill or other parts of the city. And so this is what we had to work with. This was the house that we finally talked the landlord, the absentee landlord, into selling to us. And we in turn partnered with these clients. And in addition to their 700 square feet upstairs, plus the porch, that doesn't include the porch, we also designed in a rental property which is daylight, barrier-free, and we currently have it rented to a tenant. But if anything ever happened in the primary homeowners' lives, whether they wanted to live in their home and needed on-site, just someone to listen out for them, we would move out the renters and we would move in a caregiver. If they had mobility issues, we would move them downstairs. So the basement apartment is a one-bedroom, fully dripped out. And I think this was a moment where, unlike saying, oh, thank you for not making a drive-it box, I think the neighborhood was just really happy that this, which was becoming a drug problem, you know, remember for a stretch there we had some troubles. There were sumac growing through the porch. So if you go to the next slide, Tom. So here's what we did. We really didn't change things too much. We took the footprint, we kept it, we kept the perimeter walls, we added a new porch, and the only spot that we found we needed just a little bit of something was at what would be called the rear of the house, I guess, 2 small bump out bays. And then what we did do was we could have built out to this line, but rather than doing that, Joe and I spend a lot of time in New Orleans. I'm from the South, and sidewalks are a very important social aspect in the South, particularly in New Orleans, where the sidewalks, believe it or not, are this big, but the curves are this deep. And so one thing we really wanted to do and experiment with, and thankfully these clients trust us enough to just go with it, was that to go from their interior living space to their garden, which they have a beautiful back garden, we actually made, you'll see in the last slide today, we made it such that they agreed that they come out here and to get to their big garden where they have a grill and they cook and they hang out on a table, they actually walk through the city landscape, the sidewalk. That doesn't necessarily, like, just flip a switch in your mouth, trust me. Okay, next slide. Basement patterns of living were really, I pay a lot of attention to the patterns of how people live, and this is what was originally in the apartment. When we work on basement projects in particular, one thing I think people don't frequently take into account is we found the most effective way to build in basements is to build what we call a sweater wall. And on this house, we did it on both floors. And this is what you see. See how this pochette dark? We're bringing in, we actually frame full-size, fully insulatable walls inside of the existing walls. So we're actually eating up some of the square footage, but, and that only really needs to happen for the perimeter walls. These are not square walls, these are just new walls. But what that allows you to do is run your electrical more effectively, get insulation in there, not fight those old walls where the foundation is kicking out and like you have issues in these houses. And so this is a way that we have developed. It's not our idea, it's just a way to do it that's really efficient and effective. So what we did here was we reapportioned the ground floor. So this is like your comment about, I don't want my basement to be a basement. We call it the lower level. It's a great, again, it's about switching your a little switch in your brain about how you think about basements. The connotation is negative. Lower level, not so negative. And this has full south light along this side. So we created an entry to the accessory dwelling unit here. It's a nice big open space. Greg did it in his house, right? I'm so glad you didn't put the stair right in the middle because it doesn't allow you to harvest as much of the space as possible. This does. You can furnish this how you like. This is built in and this is built in, and everything else is free floating. We have a sliding barn door, so it just feels a little bit different. If you wanted to use this as an office space, and we didn't want to rent it out, we could. Like, you can think really differently about your spaces if you keep them appealing and somewhat flexible. Bedroom, bathroom, that's it. But what we did here was we created what we call the oyster party room. It has a pair of doors that swing out to the sidewalk. The sidewalk, we don't need to go back, but the actual planting strip starts about here. So this is all side yard and sidewalk, which we poured. So it's plaza-like. And we built a table. That space, we have gatherings in there. If our whole family is going to their house for dinner, it's a big group, and we don't always necessarily fit upstairs. So what we do is we come down here and we cook out, or we cook in the garden, and we eat here inside if it's raining. People walk by and they're like, well, hey, that's what happens in the South, and that's what's started to happen on this corner when we do that. It also allowed us to take the darkest, farthest part of the basement and turn it into mechanical support and additional storage for the very small main level. Main floor level, I don't give you a before plan because there's nothing about it before. You can see all these walls are dark. That's because they weren't here ever. We created one great room, kitchen, more of a chef's table approach. This was the client's desire, and it's worked out really, really well. A space to work, living, private bath, pantry. Oh, we actually ended up, this plan changed. This is the older version. This sucked in, and we made a powder room because they said they didn't really want to share their bathroom with people who were over. So for a small house as it is, it has 2 bathrooms, and this just sucked in. And then the bedrooms, they share a closet. They're twins. They share it. So this is before. It took us a while. This is that area that I was talking about. This is where you enter, and you click hinge on after. Planters over here. It's a little tricky to see from this perspective, but this is a bike shed, tool shed, garbage can shed, everything shed. The top of it is because you look onto it from the bedrooms. It's planted with sedums and other things. We have a steel gate here, which allows a little bit of privacy. So because you do have to, when you don't have a lot of direct eyes on your backyard, we all know what the neighborhood, whatever that thing is that comes periodically. Sometimes people end up camping in your backyard. So being able to just monitor it enough and control your boundaries is important. But this whole area you can kind of see here. If you click the next one, I'm going to show you some before and after. So this is before, looking out towards Wallingford Avenue. This is after. Original design, the client said, oh, we want a pair of French doors, and oh, we want a front door. And what we ended up talking them into doing was creating the feeling that a French door would give you with access to a porch without giving over that for choreography and just digging up the space too much. This is your big chef's counter. This is before and after. Corner. So this is where they had wanted a pair of French doors, and this is what we did instead. And this is where we also have 4 interior designers on staff, and for about 10 years now we've been doing whole, when possible, we do the whole project. And you know, the answer sometimes is architectural, but sometimes it isn't architectural. Sometimes it's about just the right kind of furniture in the right way. So if you go back to the sliding window, they had never imagined that this would be a space that you can create. If you have two chairs, you face each other, you put a table or a footstool in between you, and you're at a place that has natural light, fresh air, and a place to put your glass of wine or your coffee. That's going to create space, and that's going to create a kind of life pattern. And these guys sit here literally every single day. They have their cocktail, they sit there, rain or shine, they open these windows. And when a bunch of us are over there, we're gathered on the porch, we gather in here, everyone ends up gathering around this open. Little things. This is the television. It just flops down. I hate the black hole in the room personally. I think it's really, it's just intrusive. But I like TV. I like movies. We all do. Figuring out ways that you can manage the presence of those things. Manage your storage needs. Manage, like they got really excited. They got rid of everything else and they re-upped and went to the restaurant supply and got 20 of everything. And that's it, they're done. They said, ah, we love being done. That leads you to the laundry, butler's pantry. There's a freezer in there. This isn't all refrigerator, but a freezer in the back. Windows drop down below counter height because we're up. We don't want to, I want to, because out here below is, next slide, is this space. This is the neighborhood plaza. This is this concrete monolith thing, and on the back are big bolts that we put in. So when you come over, if you bring your bike, you can hit that kind of thing. I think that's it. So,
Thank you. So Darren and I watched that house transition from where it was over the years. It is incredible. You guys are going to be in for a treat. Those of you who will be seeing it. It's just brilliant home. We are at about 11:12 right now. Do we want to take like a 5-minute break, like bathroom break for anyone who needs to do it? I see a couple of heads shaking yes. So why don't we do this? The bathrooms, by the way, you want to go all the way down the hallway here, and then through the hall to the end, and then to the left, I think, right? Piano, is that right? I think to the very end and then to the left, and you'll see signs for the restrooms. If we could come back and start up in about 5 minutes, I think we should be good. Good. Thanks, everybody. Was that great? Thank you for coming. This is sort of the question and answer period. I know you guys have a lot of questions. These people, I can see that, great interaction during the break time. And I think some of those questions other people will benefit from as well. We have this room until about 12:15, and we have to be out of here by about 12:20 for us to clean up after that. So I'm going to try to keep you all focused on the grade. I do want to allow some more time for the panelists to clear, but for the professionals who may want to speak to as well. So just in opening it up, any first questions? Yes, please go
I
ahead.
kind of have two that you can choose from. One is, how do we get our team, our community, the design, build, architect, or contractors? And the other is, how do we figure budget? Because the bank will give me a lot more than I can afford or than I want to spend. So do you guys have any tips on that?
They interview different builders and architects. I mean, it's free to call them up and have them come out and meet with you and look at your house and get references from friends, referrals, good way to start.
Okay.
But it's hard.
Yeah, I'd say we struggle trying to find people that are available, and like there are resources, Towns, HODTZ, also Porch helps somewhat. They'll bombard you with emails and phone calls. Google's good, recommendations are good, but I usually meet with between 5 and 10 before narrowing down, and they align with what you're trying to do.
It's kind of like speed dating. But you have to, because you get, one, you make sure that your team is qualified. And, you know, ask the questions, you know, do you want design build, do you want the team model, the pros and cons to each, and figure out what makes sense for you. It's a personal connection. You should like the people, frankly. And see if they want the project. I mean, it's a silly question to ask, like, do you want to work on this? It's a really valid question to ask. Because sometimes, you know, you'll be stuck at we'll go to interview, clearly we're not clicking, and like, this is, you know, maybe not right. For budget, everything is going to cost more than you want it to. It's the cost of construction right now in Seattle are just, they just are what they are. It's predictably that Seattle has the 6th highest construction cost in the world right now. Just so that.
There's a reason we were doing a lot of it ourselves.
Yeah.
I would say educate yourselves a little bit about the different types of contracts. You don't have to go deep. You can out there, and don't put yourself through that. But fixed bid versus time and materials is a very important thing to understand. And to also make sure that you have real transparency and clarity from whoever it is you think you're going to go with, on the construction side especially, because fixed bid is what you want. That means figure out what you're going to do, figure out your scope, you ask for price checks along the way. This is how we've modeled this. It's why we're design build, because we saw a lot of, in our early goings, a lot of just, you know, designing too far. Design is fun. Construction budgeting is not fun. But yet we all want to be real about it, because you can be flexible and decide what you do need and don't need. And you saw, you know, you've witnessed sort of a little bit of all different ways to do it. Greg's doing sort of a do it as you go kind of thing. And I've watched your house for so long, and I've been so happy. Oh, they're doing it really well. With Pat, she's like sits in her kitchen for 12 years and then figures out what, I mean, in a way, but that's also totally valid. Figure out what it is you want to do, at least far enough that you can talk to somebody and say, here's what I'm thinking. Shoot some holes in it, or tell me where, like, who was I just talking to? He said, oh, my dad said, put on an addition. I said, figure out what you want to do and see if you can make it work without an addition first. And then figure out if an addition is necessary.
Additions are expensive.
They're more expensive. So get to know what your real needs are and what your thresholds are and what your must-haves are and really do look for transparency in your relationships, as well as you gotta like them, but you also have to trust them.
I will second the contract thing real quick, because we have done things without a contract or with very minimal contracts and gotten burned on it. We've also done things, some of the contractors will work to the letter to their contract. So anything that's not in that contract, they will not touch and not do. Others are more flexible and have been much better to work with in that regard. But make sure you have a contract. Definitely make sure you have something down before you start working with it.
And there's parts of contracts that you will have heard really awful horror story things about, and things like change orders. It just depends on, I mean, change orders are important. Change orders might be the way, you know, they work in both favors. It's not always going to cost you more if you have a change order. The other thing is contingencies, and people are very suspicious of a contingency budget. We always put in contingencies in old houses because, like Gary's project where he thought it was just a tomb and it was a pool, right, in the front porch. Like you know, that wasn't Gary's fault that he didn't know it was there. He didn't have a way of seeing it. So you can't hold your contractor to a line if it's something that is really just was unforeseeable. And old houses have a lot of unforeseeable stuff in the walls. And then ask, how does your contingency work? How do you build contingencies? The way we build contingencies and our construction side, our contract side, is the contingency is not the client's fault, not my fault. I don't charge P&O on it. I just get the job done because I don't want to hold up the schedule or the budget because this thing begins to be the same. So we're just, that's mutually respectful relationship point. So just asking, those are kind of the basic components of it. On the design side, I would say also look at how your design fees or your architectural fees are structured, and because you won't believe how much it takes to do it. If you feel like about planning, if you feel like you need to do it over a longer period of time, talk to your designer or your architect about where the logical, really clean stopping points are in the design process, so that you're not having to go back and redo things once you start the engine up again, or knowing that you have something that's a real tangible takeaway when you're breaking it into, you can phase design as well as you can phase construction. And if you think you're going to phase construction, it's also sometimes how you have to do it. Marion will tell you, she painfully watched us phase our house over 18 years. You want to let your designers know this. You want to let them know that you think you might be needing to phase this from a financial situation, because what your designers, if they're good, your architects or designers can do is help you design and complete in such a way that if you never finish phase 2 or phase 3 or phase 4, your house doesn't look finished. That's really important for anyone investing as much as you guys are investing.
Great question. Did that answer your question?
In looking at the slides, I had a question about windows, because I'm considering windows for a Carson house. And I know there's vinyl, fiberglass, and wood, and Anderson and Milgard have been checking because they're both good, I guess. I don't like the vinyl except in places maybe where you don't show, like in the base, you know, next to the house next door or something like that. So it looked to me like, Jeff, did you, Jeff, right?
Yep.
Did you happen to do the house on the corner of Dinsmore and 38th behind Kim's house down the street? Your company?
I don't.
Oh, no, I know you're, that one is there, that's a work on Sunday kind of outfit. They're doing a decent job, but it's pretty modest, and those are vinyl windows.
So they're Anderson, supposedly they're Anderson windows, I don't know.
Anderson has vinyl.
Okay, and so, Milford, me locally, and, so.
Pretty sure.
And there's different levels of vinyl.
Right, I don't think I want vinyl for my house, you know, stay with the period, because there's wood now, but they're single pane, so that's not so good, and there's a lot of windows that.
Is it vinyl on the inside or the outside?
I don't want it, period. I think I want fiberglass all, or fiberglass outside and wood inside, and they told me that one of the decision-making points is that you can paint fiberglass if you want to. If you got white and you want to paint it on the outside, you can paint it. And if you get unfinished wood on the inside, you know, then I haven't exposed the wood floors either. And so I thought about that. So if I do that, then it's going to be like the same, you know, maybe there would, but anyway, I want your opinion.
So, I don't know, if you can ever avoid it, don't use vinyl. And there are different level vinyls, there's some that are more robust than Remodel. They're so much cheaper than other goods that it's tempting. But it's a horrible product, it's bad for the environment, they're bad. Please avoid them. That said, historically, all wood windows are appropriate. Maintaining all wood windows from the outside is a pain in the butt. It's a lot of work, and you know, unless you're really committed, don't do that. A clad window, which is wood on the interior and fiberglass on the outside, is a really great product. And you can paint it, but I recommend getting the color you want initially and just letting that factory coat do what it is.
Or I would say not fiberglass, but go with aluminum clad, because that wasn't on your list, and aluminum clad windows that's what our go-to is, always aluminum clad.
Who makes those?
Lots of people, Marvin, Anderson, Pella, Lowen.
Is there any preference about brand between Pella and you know, any of those?
Not really. Look at say, I mean, okay, window nerds, things like, I don't like crank. That's not, I mean, just from a, is this appropriate for a historically contextual house? Probably not. So Marvin does a really nice one. Also, if you want screens or no screens, that's a big tipping point because some screen details are really nice and feel really traditional, and some are a little cheesy and they just, you know, and if you're doing casement windows, your screens have to be on the inside, so you really have to be comfortable with what you're getting. So I would say, you know, start with, I want to go down the clad window rabbit hole, and I would actually recommend starting with Marvin. They've solved a lot of detailing, but I'm not promoting them in any way. It's just you end up using them a lot.
Go like Windows doors. Go
Yeah,
Windows doors more.
Or Goldfinch, or who's the place over that's opening a showroom in off of Travis, by Keller Supply. You know that?
I can't think of the name.
One
And just
Yeah.
touch them and see how they crank and look at them. I was, a few months ago, I was on did a workshop just rating several different types of windows, just from the looks of them, inside and out. And they vary drastically on how they function and what they look like. So the style of your house also has, will give you some guidance on what type is appropriate, and then just the feel of how they work for you and function.
So my last question is that, I mean, just looking, windows for weeks, when we're doing my houses, and to get that right style, for a big picture window with no openings, there's 4 of them that are like that. And so I also want the ventilation, which I don't have. And so many of the home originally, and a lot of Craftsman home had a vertical window across the top that originally was leaded glass probably. And then a lot of them had the smaller picture in the middle with the, I said vertical, a horizontal on the top and a vertical, three on the bottom with the vertical on the top. So 4 windows. And of course, the more windows you get, the more money it costs. And so it's quite complicated, to just figure out exactly what you want. And so would you repeat what you said, where you go, somebody said windows, doors, and more, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Windows, doors.
Showdown Georgetown.
Yeah, I was thinking there.
And where's that?
Georgetown.
Georgetown. Okay, and what was the other one someone else said? Marvin. Anything else?
Cherry Creek.
Cherry Creek, on 47.
Some 47.
Yeah.
Actually, Dunn Lumber has the Marvin integrity windows.
Oh,
That's what we went with, actually, which are the fiberglass clad on the outside and wood on the inside.
that's what I'm interested in, is that
And
combination.
then we went around and looked at every window manufacturer, and what the big thing was with those clad windows, a lot of them have gaps in the corners when they folded the cladding over. And so if like the little detail select things like that drive you nuts, like I thought the Marvins had the best job of having all the seams were tight, everything looks nice. So that's why we ended up doing them.
They also have a really darling, removable screen. Their hardware is really nice. They use this really sweet bullet hardware. And in the winter, as everyone who had old houses used to do, you take your screens off in the winter because we need more light. You stick them in the basement or wherever, and they're wood frame and they've got a knob, and there's just things about it that if you want screens and need to engage them, they ought to be pleasant to engage. And
So is there a way to copy the original old window with the horizontal on top in a stained glass, or not stained glass, but in a leaded glass look? Does anybody do that?
So the issue with leaded glass is that true leaded glass actually divided the glass, and that will develop single pane windows. It's leaking, and so you can't have true leaded glass in a double pane because you end up with a leak and you'll get moisture inside the glass. And so if we'll do a lot of leaded, or it's actually the same thing, but tape that goes on the windows. The problem with that is it looks great from one side, but you don't see it go through.
you can get it almost.
You can, but you still see, you can get a little filler because it gets really expensive. You can get some exceptions to do some single pane windows in your house, but you want to be careful where that is. So it's complicated.
Yeah.
But on the subject of windows and sort of historical context of windows and how you might make a choice that might help financially as well, and have a good reason, is just like you, the people who made those houses to begin with, they would spend their money on the front, the publicly visible spaces. They would put, a lot of your houses probably have divisions in the windows in the front and then no division, double hungs or single hungs in the back. That was because they were a lot cheaper to not have. The more divisions you had, the more expensive the window. And so you can still, you can tip your hat to historic precedent if you like, and you can play by those rules too. And it will save you some money, and so thank you.
If you're thinking about that too, look at your window manufacturers. They all have different thicknesses to design lights and how big that can be, and that's pretty cool. Your width, yeah.
This is like what you see.
There's also, if you go to the Remodel website and blog for windows, they have a bunch of helpful posts about what all this stuff is, just to give you a reminder.
Thank you.
So backing all the way up, I'm at a point where I want to either remodel or move to a bigger house. And looking at different ways to finance or rebuild, looking at inconveniences like having to move out and rent while major phases of this rebuild is being done. And then I guess when you guys work with folks that have finally made that decision to remodel, the interest rates right now, they're very low. So like how do you go about counseling folks on how to finance this thing? Because you've already talked about cost overruns and different clauses in the contract. When you run into things, you say, wow, we didn't know we were going to run into this. And I have this old home that has funny corners and support beams that go right into like a door frame opening. And I just think, like, who the hell is in charge of this place? It looks like it's been remodeled 2 or 3 times. Where do I find the history on that? And would that help me decide if I should try to remodel this thing or should I just go to a new house?
It's funny, I actually just wrote a blog post about this that went live 2 days ago. It's a very topic, but it's a nuanced decision. How much tolerance do you have with the remodeling process? Because if you're going to remodel, it likely will end up costing you more, frankly, but you'll get a house that feels like you. And so think about that as the first step, is really how critical is your location, where you are, your attachment to the house, all that sort of stuff. You likely will not get a direct return on investment in the next year or 2. That said, when you talk to a bank about a construction loan, different banks handle that differently. And frankly, a well-designed home, no bank is going to actually appraise you based on what the house will actually be worth. Every project we've ever designed, the bank's like, oh, this house will be worth $500,000 more. And I'll laugh, it's like, it'll be worth $800,000 more. I guarantee it. And so it finishes, oftentimes I advise clients to go and get a refinance at the end because the house will appraise for more. Because it's a well-designed home, frankly, it's worth it. As you're looking for houses to buy, you probably have been in bad houses and roll-down houses. And the roll-down houses are the ones you want to buy.
So you're saying that you would get the remodel done and then refinance the final project?
Yeah, which isn't always feasible.
Yeah.
And not to flip, like we want to live in this thing and roll with this.
That's what we're basically doing. We took out, well, we did a lot of it based on cash. And so that's part of the reason it's taking us 5 years, is we do a little bit each month and we work on it. For the addition, for example, we needed a big lump of money to pay a contractor to come in, and so you have a big down payment and you have 50% and a final. In that case, we went and did a home equity line of credit. And we also, to make up that extra little bit of money we might need, we ended up getting a high loan to value. So we ended up borrowing a little bit against that last 20%. And those 2 loans, then, they're a little bit higher interest rate than what our mortgage is, but the intent is, as soon as we get to the end of this project, to refinance, and the value of the house has gotten much higher than what we borrowed, so we should be able to refinance and be fine.
And you roll all together.
You roll them all together for one 30-year fixed mortgage.
And is that a standard guaranteed thing, or is that dependent on anything in case the economy tanks?
I mean, it's dependent on, well, it's dependent on the value of the house, so that you still have to have some value in the house that's greater than what you borrow, but it's almost a given if you're doing a decent amount of work in the house. And then part of it is, like, you have to either hope, I mean, best case scenario, the interest rates are lower when you get done with your house, or the same, so that when you refinance, and you account for that refinance cost, that you end up net better than you were. Otherwise, you might as well just borrow the money and use the money and pay off that loan.
say, that's always the first question I ask clients, like, how long do you think you'll be in this house? Because that influences how you, what you approach. So if you want to, as far as you can foresee, you're committing to this house. I do also recommend, the architect side of me wants to make sure that you know sort of what it can ultimately be. So we do a lot of master plan work, residential master plan work, where we know the clients say, well, we think we want, our biggest pressure and the thing that would change our lives the most on a daily basis is if we could just have another bathroom that was functioning, that didn't, that we didn't have to knock this up, things like that. And so what we do is we enter into a master plan design exercise where we just look at the big ideas. And the reason we do this is so that in the long run, as you execute things little by little, as you have the money to do it, as you have the time to do it, you're not having to go back and undo something that you did before, or you're moving into the next phase. And you won't, if you don't do this every day, you won't know how to do that. And so I think it is money well spent to really spend your time planning. What I don't think you want to do is go design that giant dream home thing. So master plan to a point that you feel like, okay, I really like this whole thing. Let's have somebody, whoever's willing to do it, we do it for our clients, we do a price check. And we look at it and go, well, it's going to be this much to do this work, and then we start to help them determine what to do first. Everyone wants to do their basements. If you do the basement, you can't, and then you want to do the kitchen, and then you want to do the second floor, you can't get to the stuff. You want it, it's counterintuitive, but you want to do the second floor, the first floor, and the basement. Or you want to do the second floor and the first floor, that if you just insist on doing the basement, then you want to have that master plan to know where are my home runs for plumbing, electricity, heating. Am I changing my heating system from forced air to, because I have all this ducting in this house, I'm gonna be ripping it up. That's big stuff to rip out later. You can't, so there's no turning back. That's the kind of planning that I think you need to do, and you do need the advice of a good designer or architect and a good contractor or builder, whether that's a medium outfit, a big outfit, or a one-man show, whoever you feel most comfortable with working with on the contracting side. Commit to that relationship too, because you're going to be together for a long time. I mean, I have projects that have taken 15 years to execute, but that's because we did pieces as we went, and that's fun. Like, that's slow architecture in the best possible way. And so that's my advice.
And that was one of the decisions. I would have loved to have gone up because we have a great headroom in our upstairs in the attic. And it would have been just lovely. I mean, I had envisions of how we could, carefully without destroying the view of the house with island windows in the front of the house and so on. But I knew that, if I was going to go up, I would want to put a bathroom up because that would be our master. But I knew I wasn't going to get as much use, and I also thought ahead and thought, I don't want to be 85 years old walking up a flight of stairs to my bedroom. I would get more use with downstairs because I have 2 bedrooms there. We always have company. My family lives in New York and Ohio and down in Oregon. So we always have people coming and going and visiting and so on. And so my decision was, I'm just not even going to worry about upstairs. The builder did ask me, and I said, we've talked about it, we've kicked this around for, I got really serious about 5 years ago when I started doing all the research. Okay, we're gonna move on this, not until after I retire, so I can be around, so on. And so one of the decisions that we had to make right away was, are we gonna go up? Because if we're gonna go up, we need to pay attention as to what are we gonna do up there? And plumbing needs to go up there, electrical needs to go up there.
Structure
so
is
forth.
usually bigger. It's
Yeah,
usually bigger. It's usually more about
Foundation has to
structure.
be good enough.
The one thing though I would also say, just to tag on to that, how you make a decision about what to do when you're a young couple, you're going to be in this house a long time, hopefully, but things happen, jobs change, or but what I would say is we have had, I can't tell you how many projects in the last 9 months, for some crazy reason, were ones that we had done master plans on, but we'd only executed 1 or 2 phases of it. But then they go to sell that house, and the clients were so organized, they kept the drawings, they kept the visual sheets, they kept the lookbook, they kept the spec and the contract documents from prior projects, and they said to us, this sold the house. So-and-so is going to be calling you, and they were really excited that they could pass this along, and whether we ended up getting the work or we ended up getting all the jobs that have called on that front, because you also you did good. So a lot of times you can get great advice from someone on the back of a napkin or on their hand in Sharpie, but if you can't document it, and you're about to spend some dough on design fees, I would say spend wisely. You know, it's like when I tell people buy furniture, buy the thing you want and spend the money on it. Don't buy 5 things to buy your way to the thing that you want. Just like figure out how you can budget for that and budget some time for that thinking and figuring out part of the job, and do it if you can. If you don't have a design build firm that has everything in-house, find a really good contractor or one-man show carpenter and find your design person, and then create your own design build platform to work with them. All those are feasible ways.
I will say it is okay to do your own design.
Absolutely.
So,
no, and
we
I'm
did a
not
lot
saying
of
that.
And there are cases where if you do miss out on some of the cool stuff you guys do. So you miss out on some of the extra little details. But like if you have a relatively simple project, most contractors don't see drawings. They still want to. They don't know what's in your head. But there are drafters. And drafters cost a lot less than architects, and they will give you a full plan set that you can take to the city. And that's the route we went, which is, it works well for what we were doing, knowing that we already sort of had an idea and a plan. But we made mistakes. There were things we could do in our layout that an architect probably would have been like, duh, and changed it either way. But it works for us. So.
Well,
I think
and
you
you
can
have
go
inclinations towards that too. Not everyone. Some people come and they're in a dither because they just so yeah.
Yeah, I think if you're going to do your own design work, you really want to do your homework, because architects get paid for a reason. They know a lot of things about the whole flow and you know, making room for the trim next to the door. You think a door goes here, we'll put it next to the wall, but then you go to trim it out and there's no room to put your trim on. You know, where you can't also
but I would also say, though, full disclosure, Larry Tiffany used to be a JS.
Yeah, right.
And the houses that you all have were made by, to Jeff's point, they were made by just carpenters with a good eye. They're craftsmen with a good eye. They didn't just unpack the box and put it together like people describe. That's not how it went. At JS, what we've worked really hard to do in addition to providing services for design build, we've also worked very hard to be a good teaching hospital to help carpenters who are super talented craftsmen. They have good hands, is what we say. But also, our design team and our carpentry team work really well together. And it's a very mutually beneficial relationship. Carpenters develop their eyes, architects develop their understanding of construction, and they're better for it. So if you can find, look around. Just look around and say, you see a project going up, and stop and ask, who's your contractor? And people who are doing a really beautiful job on an old home are always more than happy to talk about it.
I think yeah, I've carried that through in my company too. We don't try to be designers. I mean, we can follow design and we can do some things, but we want to bring in the architect when they're big decisions.
I have to make a comment about that though, because
I think he's being humble, don't you?
He actually did my basement, and we had architects who did a great job.
But Malcolm, who's his partner, had some ideas that I'm like, where did he come up with that? And it's because they're so experienced. So
Well,
I
they're
would say
carpenters with eyes, they're builders with eyes. They are the same people, just 115 years later, that built those houses to start with. And it's been a long time since we had that kind of knowledge base in the trades. And so you can tell this is one of my soapboxes, but it's very important that we that we give our carpenters, our really smart, talented carpenters, the credit that's due, but also give them the aesthetic support that they need to become those, as like the people who made those houses in the first place. Because that's really important, particularly when you may not be doing you can spend $1 million on a little house in Wallingford if you want to go crazy. You don't need to. And if you're committed to being there for a long time, bite off what you can chew, have a big plan, and know that it's about building relationships. The commitment part is also as much about building the relationship with your contractor, your architect, or your design build firm, or whoever you're working with, as it is that you've committed to the neighborhood or to your house. I've never seen a bad house in Wallingford. I've never seen one that can't make the place better. It's a really awesome neighborhood, and it's got its feet on the ground.
And then just a time check, we're at 11:55, and I know that I officially said this goes until noon. Are you guys still okay a little past the noon to keep questions? Kim, you're all right? And you guys have got the latest to it. And everyone else hopefully is good. Another question? Yeah.
Well, all the houses that you showed here in Wallingford would sort of pass muster as having a craftsman facade. But once you stepped inside, they would be what some of us have had neighbors do this, called gutted. The craftsman, all the craftsman stuff went away. Now down in Pasadena, I think they probably had something similar in the historic issue. However, many of the houses, a lot of work went into either retrofitting or preserving craftsman interior, so that a person from that era could walk in and not know that they were in 100 years later. And but almost all of yours, it would be possibly a very positive shock, but it would be a shock for someone of that era to step in. And
sometimes it depends. It depends on what the clients have also asked for, because we have that extra player in our play, right? We've got clients who some want to preserve, some like Jeff's, fireplace around tile. They want that historically accurate, 100% thing. It's a little trickier to do on the interior than it is on the exterior, because that patina of age is hard to achieve when it's happened over 100 years. And if we're going in to redo something, the exterior, you can tend to details, brackets, corbels, a certain trim profile, water take, all of these things that are part of the lexicon and are still available. Getting the materials right on the inside from a historically, to be fooled, coming in a good way, coming inside the building is a lot trickier, because the materials, I'll give you an example, stone. Let's start with stone. People want to put in stone counters. I have clients right now who, this seems like something you shouldn't go to the mat over, but we're going to the mat over the countertop material because they want the engineered quartz.
yeah, I understand all that, but it's just that there is a idea that you could have houses, some of the houses in Pasadena, they even have to go to some trouble to get the right, to replace fixtures and things like that as they break down. And so that was all. And then of course the woodwork was much darker then. And I thought the mansion probably came closest to preserving what was once there. But I suspect that the varnish was lighter, or the stain was much lighter than the original.
Well, you have all kinds of different people living in that house over 100 years, and painting became a great way to you know, brighten up the house. So and then it's hard to go back to the original wood and then stain it. Once it's been painted, it's really challenging and expensive.
It's a lot of cost too, because almost everything you buy now, from the materials point, is finger jointed pine, is pre-primed trim. It's another level entirely to go to hardwood trim features in a house. And like, if it is like in our house, all that had been gutted and remodeled multiple times, so there was none of that original stuff left. So to recreate it would be really, really challenging.
Yeah, we're literally running out of wood. So I mean, to get it, you almost have to go to a salvage yard if you want to try to stay. Period.
Also, to be frank, the houses in Pasadena were typically more ornate and more expensive and had a retail. The homes in Wallingford in particular were working class homes. They weren't actually very fancy inside. There isn't much to restore.
Well, I live in one of those houses, so I mean, I know what you're talking about. I'm just saying that there is an effort to chase historic values, and there are some that are still, in politics and doorbell, a lot of them, there's some that are still there.
Great. Any other questions? I think we have time for maybe one.
I have, John, a question. If my husband and I thought of having some design build work done, we would call a firm and the firm would come over, but that coming over initial consultation would not be free either, correct?
No, that's wrong, it's free.
Pardon me?
It should be
It's
free.
free.
Oh, it is free.
It is free.
Yeah. So that would be just a general conversation. So knowing what we wanted to do first and then telling you and then you figure it out.
Yeah, and I know I mean, everyone can speak differently to how they approach it, you know. But we go, we meet with you, and Nancy could be your guide on this. We meet with you, and then we hear what you want to do. And then before I push a pencil around or anything else, we do a design proposal, and we do a preliminary cost estimate, which is formatted as a low, medium, high, kind of so because, you know, the construction is a construction, but you can go lower on the food chain or higher on the food chain, depending. And we do that just so that we can begin talking about money, beauty, and we produce schedule coming out of that. So we talk about money, beauty, schedule, not always in that order. Sometimes beauty comes first, and money and schedule come second and third. But those are the three legs of the stool that you need to listen to. And your initial consultation should be free. I don't know how
Yeah. So one thing we like to do, so frankly, sales economy is booming into logistical. We get about 50 inquiries for products a week, which is honestly, frankly, overwhelming for a company of our size. So what we typically do is there's a first round of people typically email in, clarifying questions. We can either give them some resources, or they might really be like, we want to design build. We're like, oh, here's some great resources there. Or if it seems promising, we'll then take it to an inquiry, a call, just a half-an-hour phone call. You can sort of suss out what our team is like. We can suss out you and see if it's the right fit. And if that makes sense, then we go to a free walk through your house, we walk around, we follow up with a proposal. And so it's really a chance for you guys, you get to know us, and along the way we're giving you advice on budget. We never ask what your budget is. We ask if you have a fixed number in mind, or need help understanding what current construction costs are. Because everyone's budget that comes together with, everyone's budget is wrong.
So that's not the first question, though, what's your budget? Because that's always a hard, if you work with a designer, sometimes they'll say, I want to do anything. Well, what's your budget? Well, I'm like, I don't know.
And you shouldn't. Part of our jobs up here is to educate you as to what's possible and feasible on there. And
I get called out at different phases. Sometimes, more commonly, I get called when there's already some sort of schematic drawn. But I do, especially with referrals from prior clients, I get called out sometimes right at the, head scratching, what we might do phase. And I'll, listen to their ideas and just shoot them down if they're good, or give them a reality check on cost for them and say maybe do this instead, and get them in, but it can be a lot less. give them ideas that they haven't even thought about. Yeah, I often try to talk people out of going up a story or bumping out. If you can stay within your footprint, you're a lot better off.
Yeah, just keep in mind, it's more in the early goings, at least the way I feel about it is it's more relational than transactional initially. You're just both trying to get to the point where we can understand what it is you need and want, and we can help you understand how much that might cost. And that takes a good bit of getting to know each other and it's not here, I want this, you tell me how much it's going to cost, and I say yes or no. It isn't like that. It's much more relational in the early goings. Yes, you have to have quantitative things to back up where the conversation heads, but it does take a little bit of time, and so be patient and don't be on your guard quite so much in the early goings, because if you have a good person to work with, they're just trying to help get to that point too. They don't want to go in with the wrong information. They don't want to lead you down a path that is more than you want to go down.
I think one of the biggest pieces of advice I can give everyone here is trust the professionals you hire. I'm sure all of the most stories of people who are just not trusting us. And frankly, if you're a shady business, you're not going to stay in business long. So people who are still in business are doing good work because they're honest and they're straightforward and helping people. I'm not sure if it's the fact that we have a really talented population base in Seattle. A lot of people think that they're gonna, they're gonna hire, they have to hire an architect or a builder, but they're gonna move them over because they do a really smart, good job. And frankly, they feel kind of stupid in this field. They don't even know what's what, so they're not trusting anyone. And if you go into that, you can find it. We call it the secret budget. I can spend $500,000, but they want master planning. It's really gonna cost them. Told them this will cost $2 million. They're like, that's fine, just draw it up. And we're like, well, what's your budget? It's $500,000. When the plans come out, we're like, every meeting, because they're going to cost me what do you want? What do you want to do? It's fine. And it comes in at 1.75, and they're like, okay, build that. And you're like, oh my God,
you could have told me.
You could have told me, huh? Really, it's not bad. Or on the flip side, we actually waive our liability. If we're not fully involved with product through construction, we waive our liability. Our drawings are never done. You would never want to pay for done drawings. There's unknown, there's surprises. There's things that are best worked out on site with an architect and a contractor looking at things together, coming up with a solution. And part of the process. And so they just trust your team. They're really not out to screw you. They're really out to advocate for you.
But trust yourselves too. This is a really important thing because with the internet, you can Google how to best choose the contractor, and you're going to get, everybody with no filter can tell you all this stuff. Just use your gut instinct and ask around, ask your friends, or ask your neighbor, or heavens, ask your, you go to a restaurant that you like, it's brand new, it's just been built, ask them to build that. Just be really awake and really do trust yourselves and trust what your comfort level is for someone you begin to meet and build a relationship.
Talking to lots of people is the way to go. Because if they have a great relationship with someone, they will tell you everything. And that's the important thing. Because that person's going to be honest with you. Yeah, we ran into this problem here, but then we did this, and this to get it solved. Whatever. So.
I think that's great. So, sure.
So one counterpoint to the best builders, there are lots of very, very good builders in a really strong construction market, and there's lots of work to be done, and things like people will move to Seattle to do work. They will come in and they'll give you a really high number just knowing that you might take them because they're the only ones that are available, and if they don't have to work for very long to make money. So there are a few that are in that game, but this goes back to personality and getting to know them. You can suss that out pretty quickly. They're not going to be very straightforward with you. They're not going to give you an honest number. They're not going to tell you what's behind that number. They're itemized things. It's pretty easy to spot. It's not rocket science.
Well, then you can always ask for references.
Yeah, references are huge.
Like real references.
Yeah.
They give you an email and I just say, you know what, rather than me telling you how great we are, I would rather you just go talk to someone who's worked with us and please ask them the hard questions. That's really important.
They should be open and honest and answer those.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, first of all. dismiss you and you guys start socializing, how many people here are in group A? Can I see a show of hands? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Group B. Sorry. 1, 2, 3. Okay, group C. 1, 2. Group C, no, that's just 2. Okay, group D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think that's pretty good. If you guys want to mix, nobody go on to group A. But if any of the A's want to go to the B or C, that's probably okay. You're all going to be able to see the different homes, but coming out, or what you could do is actually talk to Sarah. Sarah will kind of take a look at where you are and move you around. So please be prompt. I know, so Kim, you're going to be showing your place. Is that where Mary Melinda's?
Mary Melinda's, the one that was.
Are you going to be there?
Yep,
You'll
I'll
be
be
there?
there. I'll be there for 75%.
Okay, so so Kim will be at Mary Melinda's. Greg will be at his home with his wife. Okay, and then Pat will be at her home. One thing to know about Mary Melinda's, Greg and Pat's home, they are all within a block of each other. It's really, so you don't have to drive around for any of them, and my house is like right there.
So we're supposed to go to the address first? We don't meet back here?
We don't meet back here, no. What you're supposed to do actually first is go eat. So have lunch, so you're happy, and then go to the home, to the address. And so there's no wrap up or anything like that. Of course, I'll be probably reaching out to many of you just to get feedback on it. All right. Thank you. Oh, yes. Sorry.
In my group, we are assigning 2 months. If we have time, can we speak to other ones?
You know, it's going to be asked us about that. All of the, I tried to arrange it so everybody goes to Sam and Walt's home because everybody wants to see the building. And it's the one that's right here. I don't know. Let me take a look at your portrait. Okay. Good, thank you.